My fiancé pretended to have uremia, but I stayed with him. Not only did I sell my ancestral home, I also worked 8 jobs a day to save money to pay his medical expenses on time. I even volunteered to donate a healthy kidney to him after we couldn't find a matching donor for a long time. When I woke up after the operation, I couldn't find him anywhere. I ran all over the hospital and finally found him in the most expensive ward. I saw him holding his former lover's hand and saying with relief, "Luckily you don't have any rejection reaction. Otherwise I would have waited for that disgusting woman for so long in vain." That woman was really stupid. She knew she only had one healthy kidney, but she still donated it to me in secret. I don't want to bring bad luck to you if she dies. I have to bury her in a well and find a master to suppress her before I can feel at ease. After hearing this, I realized that he had fallen in love with someone else a long time ago and had only kept the engagement with me because of his former lover's kidney failure. I was so angry that my wound burst open, I lost too much blood, and died prematurely. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when my fiancé told me he had uremia. What are you hesitating about? Give me the money quickly. As soon as I opened my eyes, I was caught off guard by his impatient accusations. I was wearing a dirty delivery uniform, and there was a familiar smell of disinfectant at the tip of my nose. Familiar memories flooded into my mind. Half an hour ago, Jonathan called and said he was diagnosed with uremia and needed imported medicine. He asked me to send the money quickly. I was so scared that I didn't have time to deliver the takeout, so I rushed to the hospital. On the way there, I fell, and the soup spilled all over me. I looked at my embarrassed appearance, and then at the ruddy-faced man in front of me, and finally realized that I had been reborn. "Are you deaf? Where's the money?" The roar came again. His voice was full of energy. He didn't look sick at all. In my previous life, I was so concerned that I took out all the money when I heard he was sick. I even sold the ancestral home my grandfather left me. I will never be so stupid again. No. I looked at him coldly. Jonathan pointed at me angrily. "Who are you kidding? How can you be without money when you work so many jobs a day?" As he said that, he pulled me over and searched me impatiently. "Jonathan, what are you doing?" I struggled hard, but I was no match for his strength, and he didn't throw me aside until he had emptied me of all my money. He counted the money in his hand with dissatisfaction, frowning. "How come it's only this little? You're such a loser. You can't even do this little thing. Where's the other money?" I looked at Jonathan's self-righteous face, rolled up my sleeves, and slapped him. Jonathan's voice stopped abruptly, his mouth open like a goose. Without hesitation, I slapped him a few more times until my arms were sore, then slowly put down my sleeves. "What are you barking about, you dog? You're just a gigolo acting superior. I was a rich girl, and I was killed by a scumbag like you in my previous life. This time, I'm not going to take it anymore." Jonathan covered his swollen face and looked at me in disbelief. "Are you crazy? How dare you hit me?" I took off my stinky delivery uniform, threw it on the ground, and sat down smiling. "I'll hit you if I want to. Do I have to pick a day?" Jonathan was so angry that he fell backward and roared, "Jessica, don't you want to be my girlfriend anymore?" I laughed mockingly and was about to speak when a scream came from behind me. Yee, what's wrong with your face?" Diana ran to Jonathan anxiously and checked his face with distress. Then she wiped her tears and looked at me angrily. "Miss Jessica, how can you be so cruel to your fiancé? He's still a patient."
I glanced her indifferently.
"Can't you hold it back? In my previous life, she didn't show her true face until after I died, always pretending to be a caring older sister. When I was desperate because of Jonathan's illness, she said that if I persisted, things would get better. I worked hard to make money, not realizing all of it was being spent on her VIP ward, international medical team, expensive nutritional products. Jonathan never let me pay the bills, so I didn't know the truth. All the money I earned was used by him to show his loyalty to his former lover. Don't talk nonsense with her, let her go. She doesn't deserve to marry me." Jonathan glared at me with disgust. Diana glanced at him hurriedly and patted his hand as a reminder. "Talk it out nicely. Jessica likes you so much. She must have her reasons for doing this." Jonathan thought about it, frowned, and looked at me. "Okay, I'll give you a chance to apologize. As long as you kneel down now Admit your mistake and hand over the money. I will forgive you. I was so angry at the scumbag that I laughed. You need to kneel to beg for food. Have you knelt? Diana could no longer hold back. She frowned and scolded. Jessica, why do you speak so harshly? It's so insulting. I sneered at her. You do ugly things, but you're afraid of ugly words? I deliberately looked at their tightly held hands. Are all of you patients this close? Diana suddenly realized and tried to pull her hand away, but Jonathan held it tightly. Don't be so sarcastic. Diana just helped me out for a walk. Everything you see is dirty. Diana looked aggrieved. Jessica, Jonathan, and I are just friends. If you don't want us to contact each other, I'll disappear from now on. She wiped her tears, looking pitiful. Jonathan immediately put his arm around her shoulders protectively. You did nothing wrong. Why do you have to leave? She's the one who should leave. He turned to me and looked coldly. Jessica, aren't you just jealous of Diana's popularity? But look at yourself, rude and sloppy. Instead of being jealous of Diana, you might as well correct your own mistakes. I was so angry I laughed. I used to be a pampered rich girl. I went to high-class banquets and bought bags worth hundreds of thousands of yuan at will. It was not until he showed up that I became what he called a vulgar person. When Jonathan interviewed for my father's company, he fell in love with me at first sight when we met by chance. After pursuing me madly for a year, I finally fell for him. Later, I brought Jonathan home and, not surprisingly, my family opposed it. My parents, who always loved me, said that unless they died, I couldn't think of being with Jonathan. Jonathan also said that my family looked down on people and asked me to choose between the two. I was blinded by the so-called love and followed Jonathan away from home without hesitation. But when he learned that I had severed ties with my family, Jonathan scolded me for the first time and said that I was too stupid. Now thinking about it, he was with me just for money. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been involved with Diana 3 months after I left home. I looked at him. Jonathan, who made me become what I am now. It would be fine if I didn't say this, but as soon as I said it, Jonathan instantly flew into a rage. He slapped me hard in the face. Don't always threaten me with the past. You're just a delivery girl now. You should be grateful enough that I still want you. If you do it again, I will break up with you. Diana immediately became anxious. She was about to speak, but I nodded. Okay, then it's as you wish. We break up. Jonathan was stunned. Jessica, are you serious? I looked at him mockingly. Wasn't it you who proposed it? I am now as you wish. Why don't you seem happy? Jessica, don't regret it. Jonathan stared at me angrily. It won't be so easy for you to come back again. I smiled contemptuously, turned around, and left, never looking at him again. Behind me, Diana worriedly grabbed Jonathan. What if she really doesn't come back? Jonathan laughed disdainfully. Don't worry. She likes me to death. At most one day, she'll come back to apologize to me. Diana finally nodded with relief, and then complained a little. Jessica is too ignorant to make you so angry. Jonathan smiled coldly. Haha, when she apologizes this time, I'll make her kneel down and beg me. When I walked out of the hospital, I made a phone call. Dad, I lost. When I left home 3 years ago, I swore that Jonathan was definitely not that kind of person. For this reason, I made a bet with my father and promised that if I lost, I would go back and marry my childhood sweetheart, Nathan. On the contrary, if Jonathan still had the same original intention after 3 years, my father would let him join the group and officially become a manager. Today is 3 days away from the 3rd year. I smiled self-deprecatingly and returned to the rental house to pack up my few things. I had been with Jonathan for 3 years, but I had very few belongings. On the shabby desk was the latest model of laptop computer, which Jonathan forced me to buy in the name of making it easier to find a job. In the beginning, my father kicked Jonathan out of the company to punish both of us, so I felt that I owed him. Even if I had to eat instant noodles for 3 months, I still agreed to his request. A full 30,000 yuan was just a meal for me before, but now I spent a year's salary to buy it. I opened the closet, and Jonathan's clothes filled it, each item costing thousands of yuan. He said it was to leave a good impression on interviewers, but until now, he still hasn't found a job. In order to buy those clothes, I could only work 8 jobs to earn money. My 2 pieces of clothing were squeezed into the narrow gap beside them, a cotton jacket and a short-sleeved shirt. I had been making do with these for the past 3 years, usually wearing my delivery work uniform. Jonathan once said I was too embarrassing. I couldn't help but wipe the tears from the corners of my eyes. I was too stupid in the past. Suddenly, the phone rang, interrupting my memories. I picked up the old Nokia. Jonathan's questioning voice came through the microphone. Jessica, why did you stop my credit card and intimate payment? I chuckled and turned around to sit on the sofa. I thought since we broke up, you should be embarrassed to use your ex-girlfriend's money, right? Jonathan was choked by my question. He suppressed his anger for a long time and softened his tone. Jessica, if you don't want to break up, just say it. Apologize to me and Diana, and I will forgive you. Why do you have to do these things to attract my attention? How about this come to Sanjeong building right now, help me pay the bill, and apologize sincerely? I promise not to break up with you. I couldn't help laughing when I heard his pretending to be magnanimous words. It turned out he went to Sanjeong building to eat and drink again. It was a pity that I, his greatest enemy, didn't pay for him this time. In the past few years, he spent my money lavishly. I worked all year round, eating steamed buns and pickles every day. He had nothing to do, going in and out of 5-star hotels, with expenses in 5 figures each time. After being hospitalized, he spent all the money I earned from selling the house. He also made a group of bad friends and claimed to be the son-in-law of the Jessica family. He had dinner every 2 or 3 days and frequented Sanjeong building, which was owned by my family. One meal would cost me several months' salary. I knew my parents saw it, but to protect his dignity, I put all the money I earned into the card and explained that he needed to socialize. Thinking of the past, I couldn't help but lower my voice. I'm sorry. I don't have money. Even if I had, I wouldn't spend it on scumbags. As for apologizing, there's no way. Jessica, don't push your luck. I've already given you a way out. What are you still making a fuss about? Come over and pay the bill immediately. Your friends are watching. If you make a fuss again, I really want to break up with you. I lowered my head, thought for a few seconds, then said, Okay, I'll be there right away. Hearing that I finally gave in, Jonathan snorted disdainfully and hung up immediately. I sneered. Jonathan, Diana, you guys just wait until the end of time. Diana was a little worried. Will Jessica really come? Jonathan answered confidently, Don't worry. She's most afraid of me being angry. She'll definitely come. I looked at the broken phone in my hand, took out the card, broke it into pieces, and threw it away. I threw his clothes into the trash can and finally soaked the computer in the sink. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I opened the door, and my parents were standing there. Seeing my embarrassed look, they burst into tears. My dad was so angry that he slammed the table. Jonathan, this beast. I gave him my darling daughter, and he cheated on me. My mom held my hand, distressed, her eyes reddened. How did it become like this? How much suffering have you endured? Looking at their concerned eyes, I couldn't help but cry. I knelt down. Mom, Dad, I am unfilial. Dad quickly helped me up. How could we blame you? You were the one who got kicked out. Do you blame Dad? I cried and shook my head. If it wasn't for Dad making me suffer, how could I have seen Jonathan's true face? Seeing the shabby place I lived in, my parents wanted to take me away immediately. But just then, my stomach growled. I remembered I hadn't eaten all day in order to earn money. So, I decided to eat first. When I walked into the lobby of the Sanjeong building, the manager suddenly ran over, saying he had something to report to my parents. I decided to go upstairs alone and order food while waiting. As I passed a private room, I suddenly heard a voice. I said I would pay. Just wait a while. Why are you rushing me? I'm the son-in-law of your chairman. Can't I even have a meal? The waiter replied calmly. Sir, no one can eat for free. Another freeloader. I looked over instinctively and locked eyes with the man inside. It was Jonathan. I rolled my eyes and was about to leave when he suddenly pulled me in. Jonathan pointed at me excitedly. Look, the one paying is here, and grabbed my hand. Why are you just standing there? Hurry up and pay. I pushed him away impatiently. Stay away from me, mister. Jonathan. You eat and I pay? How does that make sense? What's our relationship? Jonathan was stunned. What are you talking about? Aren't you here to apologize? Diana chimed in. Yes, Jessica, pay quickly. I'll plead for you and Jonathan. I looked around at the people and the expensive red wine on the table. In the past, I might have paid without hesitation, but now, I chuckled. Then you two kneel down and I'll pay. How about that? Jonathan was stunned, then furious. Jessica, you dare insult me? Someone looked at my delivery uniform with disgust. Mister. Jonathan, do you think she looks like someone who can afford this? Even if you sell her, she couldn't pay for this meal. Diana frowned. Jessica, you can't hog all the money for yourself just because Jonathan gave you everything for safekeeping. I was stunned by her shamelessness and couldn't help but applaud. Forget it, mister. Jonathan, deal with her another day. Aren't you the chairman's son-in-law? Why not call your father-in-law now? He hesitated, clearly guilty. I looked at him mockingly. I used to say my parents were full of money, and now he was shamelessly using their names for free meals. I sneered. Young Master Jonathan. Do you dare call him? Jonathan stammered. Why wouldn't I? I'll call now. He walked to the corner with his phone. After a long time, he returned, looking awkward. Someone said enviously, Young Master Jonathan must be really valued. Director Jessica actually came in person for this small matter. Jonathan was stunned. I couldn't help but laugh. That person might be a plant. I looked at Jonathan playfully. If Director Jessica didn't come, I wonder how you'd end up. The man glared at me. Director Jessica is his father-in-law. Of course he'd come. I nodded and was about to leave when a waiter bumped into me, nervously glancing behind. Director Jessica is here. A stone stirred 1,000 waves. Everyone gasped. Jonathan was also shocked. Oh my God, Director Jessica is really here. Someone broke the silence. Jonathan's status must be high in Director Jessica's eyes. Jonathan coughed, cleared his throat, and said helplessly, I told my father-in-law to just greet the manager. Why did he come himself? Watching him pretend made me feel disgusted. I couldn't believe I'd ever liked him. He was just a scheming social climber. The one flattering him earlier suddenly looked proud and sneered at me. Didn't someone just say Director Jessica wouldn't come? Now you've been slapped in the face. I frowned, about to speak, when Jonathan interrupted. All right, as long as you apologize, I'll forgive you. I rolled my eyes. What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? Jonathan was stunned, then angry. Someone shouted, Young Master Jonathan is giving you a chance. Don't be ungrateful, apologize. I looked at Jonathan playfully. Young Master Jonathan? The man scolded. What now? Got a problem? I heard Director Jessica has only one daughter. After Jonathan marries her, won't all the family assets be his?
Yes.
Then we can't call him Young Master anymore. He'll be President Jonathan, ha ha ha. Jonathan basked in the praise, waving his hands humbly. It's too early, but couldn't hide his smile. I sneered. Jonathan, didn't you say my dad's money stinks? That our family always looks down on people? So why are you thinking of swallowing everything now? What about your dad? That stinky delivery man still hasn't woken up. A group of people laughed. Look at your status. You think you can climb the social ladder? Aren't you afraid President Jessica will punish you? Right. You, a poor low-class woman, will never touch President Jessica's heels. Drive her out before she dirties the president's eyes.
The group surrounded me.
I frowned and shouted. Who dares to touch me? Jonathan came over and pushed me hard. I fell outright as the door opened and my dad entered, catching me on the ground. He rushed over, anxious. What happened to you? Get up, quickly. Jonathan's pupils shrank and he felt guilty. Before I could explain, a group of people started talking at once. Chairman Jessica, this stinky delivery man just insulted Mr. Jonathan, saying that Mr. Jonathan was eating out the whole family and lied that she was your daughter. You should punish people who try to climb high branches like this. My dad slowly raised his head and stared at Jonathan. Mr. Jonathan, is that you? Jonathan tried to suppress his guilt and walked forward. Dad, you're here. My dad waved his hands coldly. I don't deserve it. The people behind him were stunned immediately. I remember that when you came to Jessica's, you were just a poor student. When did you become Mr. Jonathan? Have you made a career in the past few years? My dad looked at him sarcastically. Jonathan's face flushed red, and he stammered and couldn't speak. My dad suddenly reacted. So, the person who the manager just reported to eat a free meal was you. I heard that you were still shouting that you were my son-in-law. Someone asked in confusion. Chairman Jessica isn't Mr. Jonathan your son-in-law. My dad smiled coldly. He doesn't deserve it. Jonathan was so angry that his face turned pale. He lowered his head tightly and didn't dare to raise it.
What?
How dare Jonathan lie to us? Mr. Jessica obviously doesn't know him, but he still tries to get close to him. That's right, he's so shameless. If I had his shameless spirit, I would succeed in everything I do. The people behind me started whispering. Jonathan glared at me, and my dad in shame and anger. Come to think of it, how could Miss Jessica fall for him? She must have married someone of equal status. Diana bit her lip and quietly took a step back, moving away from Jonathan. Looking at the way these people were sitting on the fence, I was speechless. Dad, let's go. I'm hungry. I looked up at my dad. My dad nodded. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, a voice suddenly rang out. He pointed at me in disbelief. Miss Jessica, this stinky delivery man is your daughter? My dad frowned. I stood behind my dad and looked at him with amusement. My dad is the most protective of his shortcomings. He actually dared to scold me in front of my dad.
He's dead.
She's not. My dad turned around and looked at the man. The man breathed a sigh of relief and was about to say something. My dad said indifferently, Are you? The man's face turned pale in an instant. Remembering the words he had just scolded me, he immediately knelt on the ground and apologized. My father patted me on the shoulder. Who bullied you just now? I looked over one by one, and everyone who was seen turned pale. I pointed at the few people who jumped the most violently just now. My father turned around and ordered, Call the police. Let them stay in jail for a few days, and don't let any of them escape. My father pointed at those people. If they are locked up for a longer time, we can say that they ate a free meal. This meal cost tens of thousands, which is enough to file a case. As soon as we left the box, we heard angry curses coming from inside. Jonathan, why are you so pretentious? You can pretend if you want, but why do you want to harm us? That's right, I'm so unlucky. I followed you here. My mother will beat me to death if she knows I'm in the police station. Jonathan turned around and cursed. Did I force you to come here? You didn't have any objections when you followed me to eat and drink before, but you complained immediately when something happened. I really misjudged you. We misjudged you. Someone pointed at the tip of Jonathan's nose and cursed. Who knew you had been pretending for so long? You even said that you are Director Jessica's son-in-law. People don't even know you. It's so embarrassing. I raised my head and hugged him tightly. Nathan, I miss you so much. He was stunned. His ears turned red in an instant, and his whole body was stiff as a piece of wood. 2 months later, Nathan and I were sitting on the sofa watching a movie. I sat in his arms. He helped me peel the melon seeds, and I grabbed a handful and ate them from time to time. 2 months later, Nathan had changed from the awkwardness when I took the initiative to approach him at the beginning to the calmness now. Suddenly, the phone rang. Nathan helped me answer it and put it next to my ear. Jonathan's roar came from it. Jessica, where have you been fooling around? Why didn't you prepare the meal?
I'm starving.
Come back and cook for me immediately. Also, what happened at home? Where are my clothes? And why is my computer soaking in the sink? I frowned impatiently. I had already blocked him. How could this guy still linger around? I did it, I said indifferently. Are you crazy? Jonathan's voice trembled with anger. Send me the compensation immediately. I ate the melon seeds leisurely. Jonathan, you are crazy. Those things were bought with my money. Legally speaking, they are private property. What do you think about me throwing away my own things?
You.
Where are you? Home? You are still lying. I am at home now. You are obviously not here. I am at my home. I chuckled. We have broken up. Why are we still living a hard life? As for the meal, I said leisurely. If I remember correctly, we have broken up. You can let your white moonlight cook for you. How can Diana do such rough work? Jonathan answered with confidence. I was so angry that I laughed. In the past, I worked 8 jobs every day and had to get up early to cook for him and Diana. And I couldn't make do with anything. It had to be 4 dishes and 1 soup. Now that I think about it, I am simply a big victim. I said coldly. If I, a rich girl, can do it, why can't she? If you don't want to do it, just starve to death. Jonathan paused and his tone softened. Jessica, please come back. I am very tired now. I really can't live without you. I sneered in my heart. In the past, I felt so distressed when he said that. I wished I could take my heart out, but now I don't care anymore. Just as I was about to hang up the phone, I suddenly remembered something. I smiled softly. Okay, I'll be there right away. After hanging up the phone, I immediately got up and packed up. Nathan, come with me to the rental house. Nathan looked at me with loss. For the first time ever, he rejected me. I had something else to do, so I left first. I looked at him in confusion. Where are you going? Nathan looked at me with a forced smile. Aren't you going to find Jonathan? It's too much of an eyesore for me to follow you. Seeing his awkward look, I couldn't help laughing. Idiot, I really want to go back, but who said I was going to find him? I sneered. I just suddenly remembered that I still had a debt to settle. I stayed in the landlord's room for a long time before coming out. When I came out, the landlord was smiling like a flower and hurried to where Jonathan lived. I couldn't help but laugh. Nathan looked at me in confusion. I kissed him. I'll show you a good show later. But Nathan's face suddenly turned red. He covered the place where I kissed him and was in a daze. Over there, Jonathan was pushed out by the landlord, and his luggage was thrown out as well. His hair was messy from sleeping, and he didn't even wear a shirt. What right do you have to evict him before the lease expires? The landlord rolled his eyes. The house price has gone up. It's $2,000 a month now, and you've already owed it for half a month. This is considered trespassing. If you don't leave, I'll call the police. How can the rent be doubled? Jonathan was furious. And you didn't tell me in advance. Believe it or not, I will sue you. At that time, it was a contract between Miss Ling and me. She has agreed. If you have any objections, go to her. The landlord looked at him with contempt. Jonathan was so angry that he was shaking all over. Seeing his embarrassed look, I couldn't help laughing. Okay, let's go. After watching the show, I pulled Nathan and planned to go to dinner, but Jonathan suddenly saw me. He rushed over and asked loudly, Jessica, did you get kicked in the head by a donkey? You actually agreed to her to raise the rent and double it. I smiled indifferently. I rented a house. Even if it increased tenfold, you have no right to control it. Who made me rich? Jonathan glared at me. Since you have money, pay the rent quickly. What are you dreaming about in broad daylight? I have nothing to do with you anymore. If you don't have money, go sleep on the street. I rolled my eyes and pulled Nathan. Let's go. You. Jonathan looked at Nathan. Who is he? My boyfriend.
Good.
It turns out that you have found someone better. Jonathan pointed at me and cursed. I knew you were a vain woman. I used to think you were pure and innocent. You are so shameless. Suddenly his voice stopped. Nathan glared at him with anger. Who do you think you are? How dare you insult Jessica? His face was cold. Listen carefully. I am the one who wants to marry someone above your status. He threw down 500 yuan. The money is for medical expenses. Of course, if you want to call the police, I will accompany you to the end. On the way back, I lowered my head and was unhappy. Nathan looked at me cautiously. Jessica, are you angry? I nodded expressionlessly. Nathan immediately became anxious. I'm sorry, Jessica. I just can't stand Jonathan insulting you. I won't dare to do it again. Don't be angry. I chuckled. Idiot. I'm angry about why he wasted 500 yuan. His minor injury can only cost a 50-cent band-aid. Think about that scumbag making 499 yuan for nothing. I got angry at 50 cents. I raised my head. Are you serious about what you just said? What's the matter? Nathan looked at me blankly. My face blushed too. About wanting to marry above my status. Nathan blushed instantly, but he still nodded firmly and confessed to me stutteringly. Jessica, I know you don't like wealthy marriages, but I really like you. If you don't like our family being rich, I can leave the house with nothing. Then it won't be a wealthy marriage. So, can you be my girlfriend? I put on a stern face. I don't agree. Nathan's face turned pale. I muttered in a low voice, at least there must be flowers, candles, and a ring for me to agree. Nathan was instantly ecstatic and pulled me home to prepare for the confession ceremony. He was ecstatic and ran home to prepare. On the other side, Jonathan was calling Diana. Diana, that woman Jessica kicked me out. Can I come and live with you for a while?
This.
Diana was a little reluctant. Jonathan quickly assured, don't worry, I will find a job right away, and I will give you the rent. Diana finally nodded. What money are you talking about between the two of us? I will help you clean up the room now. A few days later, Nathan formally confessed to me. My family and friends were present. Nathan said that he would cherish me all his life. When he asked if he could be with me, I couldn't help but shed tears. I remembered when I was with Jonathan, I was afraid that he would spend money and ask for nothing. We were together after just watching one movie, but it was a pity that our true feelings were misplaced. When we hugged each other, everyone clapped and blessed us together. As for Diana, her kidney failure was getting worse and worse. In her previous life, I donated a kidney to her, but in this life, because no one donated a kidney to her, she was getting more and more painful. She urged Jonathan many times to let him find me, but Jonathan had lost face in front of me, so naturally, he didn't want to. The two quarreled more than 10 times a day, and the vows they made were gone. On the day Nathan and I got engaged, Jonathan suddenly appeared at the wedding scene. He knelt at my feet in full view of everyone. My dad's lips trembled with anger. Jessica, Diana's dying. Please donate a kidney to her. You are so kind. You will definitely not watch her die, right? I replied coldly. You are wrong. I am not kind at all. I hope you and Diana will not die well. He was stunned, rushed up to hit me in anger, but was pulled out by Nathan's people. Before leaving, he kept cursing me. He returned to Diana in disappointment, but heard ambiguous sounds coming from the room. Jonathan was stunned, ran over and saw that Diana was making love with an old man. Diana groaned and said, Husband, don't forget what you promised me. The man panted, Don't worry, it's just finding a kidney. It's a trivial matter. But why don't you let your boyfriend find one for you? Diana snorted coldly, That trash is not my boyfriend at all. Only you are the one I love the most. Jonathan trembled all over and kicked the door open. The two people on the bed screamed. Seeing that it was Jonathan, Diana rolled her eyes impatiently. Get out. Can't you see we are busy? During this period, Diana was indifferent to him, but she had never been so disgusted. Jonathan looked at her with heartache. Didn't you say you like me? Diana sneered. You are worthy? You're just trash. Now you have no use value. Of course you should be thrown away. Jonathan's eyes were red with anger. He ran to the kitchen in a rage and chopped around with a kitchen knife. When he came to his senses, Diana and the man had already died. When I saw this news on the news, my heart was calm. A few days later, someone called from the prison. Miss Jessica, is this you? This is the Public Security Bureau. Jonathan wants to see you. I thought about it and said, Sorry, I don't have time. Just as I was about to put down the phone, the man said anxiously, He said if you don't want to see me, let me tell him something. What was it? I nodded and gently put down the phone. In the living room, Nathan called me over to pick out a wedding dress. We were getting married soon. I answered and ran downstairs with a smile. After going around in circles, I still returned to the right person.